Today we're going to be putting in our support system for our solar panels. So I thought that would be something good to get on camera. Kind of came up with my own plan in my own head. Been mulling it over for a few weeks. This is the area where we're going to install it. I don't have any trees that are any significance that are going to block the sun once it starts. Now, it would be cloudy today on the day I try to start this project, but I think we're going to just kind of out here in the middle of this field. I'm going to start digging holes and putting in the ground supports across here. So this big pile of wood is all pressure treated, and that's what I'm going to use. I wanted to do metal poles, but I couldn't find any that were reasonable, and it made the mounting the wood a little bit more complicated. And so I'm going to use these. These will last for a long time. I'm going to dig probably 3-foot holes, 4-foot, and then concrete them in. And once those are set, then I'm going to take these 2x6s here and string those across the top. And then for each 4 panels, I'm going to make a frame that will hold 2 panels, one on top of each other, in a group of 4. And that whole frame is going to be on a hinge, so I can raise it up and down with the change of seasons. And it's going to be really hard to do by myself because it's going to be heavy, but I'll figure it out. So that's the plan. Man, I wish it was flatter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stake out a square of where it's going to be, and then I need to get my phone to make sure I'm facing exactly south, which should be this way. And then I don't have the exact measurements, so I'm going to build a set for 4 panels and then piggyback off of those as I go. Once I build the first one, I know exactly how wide everything's going to be and where to place that second pole. Then I can go ahead and measure out the other ones and get those holes dug too. But since I'm not willing to buy a kit for thousands of dollars and I'm building myself, you kind of figure it out as you do it. So it shouldn't be too bad. It's starting to warm up out here though. So on my compass, I'm showing south is directly that way. So I'm going to put 2 stakes, have them both facing directly south. And that should be good on that. So, but I got to measure how far I need to go. So I got 16 panels. They're 41 1/4 each. I'm going to do 8 across the top, 8 across the bottom. So 41.25 times 8 equals 330 inches divided by 12, 27.5 feet. All right, so 5, 27.5 is right there. So the other thing too is this is not level. So what I'll end up doing is leveling the board across the top of the post. Then as it gets higher down there, the panels will be closer to the ground than they are out here. It's the only way I can do it. It's been raining a lot here, so the ground is not really all that hard, as long as I don't hit the rock. Hey, you get back. Okay, so got the first hole dug. It wasn't as deep as I wanted it to be. I hit rock at the very bottom of the hole and I couldn't seem to get around it. It's a little over 2 feet, but what I did is where it comes down through the post hole, I hollowed it out in the bottom as much as I could to fill that with cement to hold it better. And then if I need to add more supports, I will. Right now, I put those stakes in. I'm going to use 2x4s to level the post so it'll hold there while the concrete dries. So that's the next step. So I'm going to put this one on first. This will work. Camper's always a big help. You big helper? Huh? You got dirt in your nose. Need 2 more hands. Come back. Come back. Scene from the Titanic. Come back. Come back. Okay. That's on the money. That one's not. Okay, so let's do this one. Well, it's crazy. You think something looks level until you put a level on it. You know, like, it wasn't even close. Still needs to come over. Right there's perfect. Now, the things I gotta make sure of is that this post is still oriented directly south, because if it shifts a little bit, that throws it off. So it's got to be perfectly straight. So what I'll do is I'll move these guys in order to orientate it to the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So post is square there. You know, it's perfect. Yep. So that's good. But I felt like it turned just a little bit, so I think I need to move this over. Turn it just a little bit back. Let's get the phone and take a look. Okay, you can see I need to tilt it just a bit to get it back to where it needs to go. See the difference? So I'm at 198 degrees, and to be where I need to be at about 180. So let's turn it. So I mixed concrete up at the house. And I'm just going to pour it in. I'm going to need. This is one bag. Another bag for sure. Little pro tip, when you're mixing these, put a little water in the bucket first, so that way the powder doesn't sit at the bottom and not get mixed in good. This makes it easier getting the concrete out. Alright, so I'll go mix another one. Alright, so I got the hole filled. I decided to put a little platform around it, and I'm going to build it up so that water drains off of it, just to give it added support. I'm sure you're not supposed to have grass under your concrete, but it's just so hard to get up. And you know, I'm just homesteading here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just need it to be strong. So that would have been more Alright, so got the post in, got some concrete going. Don't look at it too closely. Next step is I'm going to go ahead and make the frame for the 4 solar panels. See what the exact measurement it is going across once it's built. And then I'll measure from that pole the distance that I need to set the other pole. And that way it'll be a perfect match, because if I put the pole in now, the frame may not match up perfectly because I don't know how big it is yet. So while that pole's drying, I'm going to work on this. So I'm hungry right now, so I think I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to bring out 2 panels and start getting them framed up. Okay, so I've been busy. Brought 2 of the panels, using it as a guide to make sure my measurements are good. The idea is that the wood's going to stick out a little bit on the side here, and I have a piece of angle iron that's all beaded with holes, and I'm going to cut strips of the angle iron and screw it to the wood, and then as it comes up I can put screws into here from the inside and mount the panels that way. So I need to have a little bit of a strip, so I'm going to put probably 1/2 inch or so is what I've allotted for that. I've already mounted this bottom piece here. On this piece, well, if I cut both on the same, I can't get the screws in that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw it to this piece, and then I'll take that whole thing and screw it to that, and that's how I'll mount that. It should be the same measurement. But yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to get this up on that pole over there. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I know I won't have the panels on there when I put it up there. And then I'll mount the panels. I'll have the brackets so I can set the panels on there, and they'll rest on the brackets. And then I could screw them down, and then we'll get it wired up. The idea that I've worked out is there'll be a piece of wood coming across here. That's going to have hinges on it. The hinges are going to mount to a 2x6 that's going to go from the top of one post to the top of the other one. So when I get it up there, mount the hinges, that will allow the panels to rock up and down for the seasons. And then, I don't know if you can follow this, but on the post I will put a lower 2x6 down about 1/3 of the way up, and I'm going to have a 2x4 coming up to the bottom of the panel bracket, okay, and I'm going to notch it. So when it's summer I can put it up and it'll lock on that notch. When it's winter I'll bring it back and I'll lock it on that notch, and then that's what's going to allow my panels to tilt for the seasons. And you can see I got my good southern sun right there, so it should be good. That's the plan I came up with anyway. Hopefully it'll work. Alright, so quick update. The frame is 84 inches across, so now I know my exact measurement now that everything's done. So what I did is I measured from that post 84 inches, add a little bit for some wiggle room. Came out to like 85 or 86. It doesn't really matter the way I'm putting the hinges on there. Having a little extra space on either side will work well. And then I did double check my orientation with my line to make sure everything's facing south. So this pole will go in and it'll line up perfectly with that pole facing due south, 180 degrees. But I have to get more concrete before I put this pole in. And then I can go ahead and dig the others at 85, 86 inches apart and get those poles in hopefully tonight. And then tomorrow I'll just build frames. And I need more lumber. I had miscalculated my lumber, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so it's the next day. It's early. I got these little supports to put on the corners just to give it a little bit more strength. I think once the panels are on there, it's gonna be pretty solid, but there's a lot of joints there. So last night I got the last pole in that I could do. I didn't have enough wood to make pretty forms like I did on the first one, so it is what it is. But when I was bringing the concrete over, my little wagon turned over and spilled all the concrete on the ground, which it was about to get dark, so that was fun. And then I had to mix another bag to get it to work. But I think it needs to set up a couple more days. I mean, it's solid in there. And then I've decided on my design that I'm going to dig more posts to put out from here, just a shorter one, you know, maybe 3 feet high, to run supports to those, just to give it added strength, and then put a band of 2x6s all the way around it. That'll give it all nice support. And then the piece that I made over there is going to fit between these two posts. As if I had steel poles, I would never have to repeat this process. So one day I'm going to have to redo all this. But right now, we don't have any electricity out here other than a generator. And I need to get something going. It's like last night, I was going to use a generator in the RV to run the AC, and the generator stopped working. Wouldn't pull the current. Well, I had everything turned off except for the AC, but it kept dying, then it wouldn't start. So it's not as dependable. And it's not as clean either. It's loud and noisy. So at least with this, once I get everything going, we'll have electricity out here. And if 3 or 5 years I need to rebuild this, I can rebuild it just a little bit further back, tear all this down, and then we'll have a nice setup. And that'll give me time to figure out whether or not it works and what changes I want to make. But as of right now, with my timing and what I got to do, I could probably have all the electricity up running next week. And then we have water, free water and free electricity to be out here on our land, which is great. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. All right, almost done with this hole. I gotta dig one more and put all the big posts in. Then I'll start working on the little posts and the frames. I have to leave here by 3, so I don't have all day to work. It's about 8:30 now. It's not hot yet, so that's good. All right, quick update. Got all the poles in, the main structure, and then now I'm going to go through and add these support poles. I have 4 more holes to dig and concrete to pour. Then I think it'll be pretty strong. And then, you know, all this will be braced together with wood lags, so it'll be pretty stable by the time I get the panels up there. Hopefully soon. Okay, good morning. Last time I was here, I put up all these poles for the solar array. Got everything concreted in. So today I'm back and I brought more lumber. So these are going to be the cross beams. They're going to connect each one together to give it more support. I'm going to do a round low, and then I'm going to do 4 up high. Then the posts will be cut off to keep them level, and then I'll pull up the panel mounts. I still have to make 2 more of those. And since our last recording, picked up this beauty. It's going to be able to help out on the farm, so that's nice. It's a Kawasaki Mule 6-seater. And the seat actually pushes forward so you can have a bigger bed. So that'll be really handy to have. But okay, so I'm gonna get started. Okay, a little update. So I got all the posts leveled with the support brackets, or support 2x6s. It looks a little wacky because the ground's so unlevel, but it's all level. Now, how do you do this by yourself? So what I did is I would put a screw here to rest this board on, and then I would level it out while I held the other side, and then I put a screw in to hold it to the post. And then I'm going back and I'm doing all my bolts to bolt it in on both sides. So it should be, I mean, it's solid. It's not going anywhere. But yeah, when you're working by yourself, you gotta come up with ways to be able to get your work done. So that's that. All right, so I have this side resting on a screw, and I'm going to hoist this side up, level it, put a screw through the wood into the post, and then go back and put a screw in the other post, and then bolt it down. So the frame of my panels are going to go in between these two posts and then bolt to it a little bit higher up, and then they're going to be able to pivot up and down. That's the theory anyway. It's higher on this end because the ground slopes, and then they'll get lower to the ground as they go over. This was just the best spot to put it with the sun. I mean, it's just sunny here the whole time, so it should work. I'm not going by any plan that I bought. I just thought this up, so. All right, so it's another day on the farm. Ran into a snag. It's actually a big snag, really. And I don't know how it happened. I thought I had everything right, but you know, the measure twice, cut once, goes for concrete too. These posts did not work out the way I wanted. So quickly, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Up in the corner where that post is, I'm going to put a bolt through, probably about 5 or 6 inches up. Do the same thing here, which will go through both of those, so they'll be level, and then through this one here. Somehow, these posts are too narrow for the frame. So I'm gonna have to pull those out and redo them. I really need like 2 inches. I mean, they're like way off, and I don't know how that happened. So I think what happened is when I measured over, I needed 84 inches, so I measured over 87.5 because those boards are 3.5 inches, the post. And I put my stake in where I was gonna dig, and then I dug right on top of the stake rather than moving it over to the lateral side of the stake. And so I lost my inches there and didn't realize I was even losing them when I did it. So I got to come up with a way to pull these out. They're solid. So I think what I'll do is I will strap it to my truck and try to just yank it loose from the soil, and then move the hole over a little bit and then put them back in. I bought new posts already, so I'm just going to fix it and move on. There's no reason to worry about it. But I think it's going to work out good. So from here, everything will wire together. I got to dig a trench, and I'm going to trench it all the way over to here. Now, let me show you what we're doing there. We'll walk around. Okay, so over here, this was just kind of a lean-to space that wasn't being used. It had a gate on it. I pulled that out. I went ahead and ran the 2x6s around the perimeter, and then on the barn I just screwed it into, there's a board inside the barn there that the 10 is actually connected to, so I just screwed it to that. I leveled it out, and so what this is going to be is a 10 by 30 foot electrical room. And so the panel stuff will run from over there, trench it up to here, it'll come in, and I'll have on this wall here will be all my electrical stuff. And then what I'm going to do, because it gets cold here, is I'm going to make this into like a little small electrical room inside of the 30-foot structure that I can insulate and put a little space heater in or whatever for when it does get cold, because I am running lithium batteries. And then the rest of it, I'll set it up. For right now, we'll get our internet put in out here, and I'll have a little workshop place to keep my tools locked up. And where this window is here in the barn, I'm actually going to take that out and put in a 36-inch door. So you won't actually have access to here from outside. You'll have to come in through the barn and then come in through the door to come into here. Who knows? I may even put a little bathroom out here. I don't know. So I could put in a septic tank right over in that area and have a little bathroom shower out here. It'd be kind of nice. And then on the roof, I will probably just put sheets of plywood up there and close that in. And it's waterproof, so that all this is like perfectly dry. So it should work just fine. And some of that wood, I don't know if you can tell, but that's the Amish cut wood. That's stuff you can't get at the store. So that'll last a long time. So that's the project I'm working on now. So today, I got the perimeter in. I am going to start putting my joists in, and then I have in the back of my truck, I don't know if you can see all that, but I have a boatload of wood there. Actually, it's a truckload. But anyway, and there's my helper. Yeah, good old time. Okay, that's my update.